Hey everyone, it's been a minute and I'm back here to talk about the brand new Drake and Party Next Door album, Some Sexy Songs for You. Now, if you were living under a rock in 2024 and somehow didn't know about the major collision that was the Drake versus Kendrick beef, I would honestly be shocked, as 2024 was definitely not a good year for Drake, especially coming off all these previously pretty good years in terms of popularity, not necessarily critical acclaim or anything, but he still had his fans, and he was pretty well liked by the most part, besides the people who, were more into Kendrick's type of music, kind of just did not like a lot of what Drake was making music, maybe didn't like him as a person. But now, after 2024, we see a more universal shift. We see artists going against Drake for a number of reasons that are all valid, in my opinion. Because if you don't know, with all of Drake's sneak dissing, basically going on the offense against all these rappers, eventually was going to bite him in the ass. And then you have Party Next Door, who, while he's never really been my favorite artist or someone that I've really been that big a fan of, he's kind of always existed in this vacuum where he just feels more like a more R&B Drake. Just kind of more low-key, chiller, very just easy music to listen to, in my opinion. It's very inoffensive, in my opinion. His lyricism is generally pretty decent. I know he's written a lot of hit songs, so hearing that these two were going to collab was... it was something. Like, I wasn't hyped for it. I wasn't exactly like, oh, they're going to make a good album. And I wasn't necessarily like, thinking too much about what were they going to make. I really just thought it was going to sound a lot like anytime they've collabed before. At certain points, it sounded like a very off-brand version of a Drake and Future collab, if I may say that. But this album was really not that good. I'm gonna be honest, just saying it outright. I listened to all 20 songs, all 70 minutes of music that these two made, and if you really thought that Drake was, gonna come back and make good music, you were mistaken. This is a more kind of R&B album, a more low-key chill album, very different from his previous album, For All the Dogs, which was more rap-centric. His previous albums have generally been pretty rap-centric, with a few deviations here and there. So this album is just very so what to me. It feels, despite technically being a Party Next Door album, I know it's a collab, but it's more a Party Next Door album, it comes off more like a Drake album, because it feels like Drake is the main person performing in this album, but neither of them are really that interesting, whether it be the overuse of reverb, the fucking overkill amount of auto-tune, auto-crooning that somehow makes their voices sound almost the same. So at random points, it's hard for me to distinguish who is who. The lyricism is, pretty forgettable. There's an interlude that is just waste of time, stupid, just filler that should have been cut. There's no point to it. It doesn't do anything for the album. It's pretty bad. The only real song on here that I thought was somewhat decent was Nokia. I thought Nokia was okay. It had decent performances from both of them. The instrumental wasn't that boring to me. It was honestly a pretty decent Drake song, as Drake tends to be for me. There's some decent to good songs, and then there's just a lot of filler, a lot of bad. There's at least one cringy, bad song that just makes my head hurt. And in this album, it was freaking Meet Your Padre, which, if you're on TikTok, Instagram Reels, any social media thing, and you have not seen Meet Your Padre memes, I implore you to go watch them. Whenever somebody talks about Drake, taking another, music scene from a different country or culture, and then somebody tries to defend it, and I say he's not doing that, listen to this song and tell me that he's doing an authentic Spanish song. His Spanish on this song is also awful. It is, maybe you take, 2 lessons of Duolingo Spanish, and you're good. That's basically what he has here, as just throwing in Madre, Padre, mi amor, just words in there. It's so cringy. It's so, I don't know what he's trying to do. You also get the song, which, honestly, at certain points, I dislike it even more, Give Me a Hug, which is just the freaking, honestly, I don't know if he's trying to just play into it now, which if you're trying to play into, the PDF file accusations, it's crazy to me that you would, it's still crazy to me that someone would play into it. But if you genuinely didn't think any further, the title alone of Give Me a Hug is giving the super senior vibes. But this song, which is probably the most rap-centric song, basically is trying to almost rewrite what he's doing, as he's trying to act all tough now, despite him doing an entire lawsuit against Not Like Us, his record label, Spotify, basically throwing a fit about this. He's trying to rewrite the entire narrative about everything. It's so stupid. He's been clowned. He's been dissed by every rapper. Drake's on a very downward trajectory. While popularity-wise, I think it was nearly impossible for him to fail, as if Pusha T exposing that dude was a deadbeat dad, I don't think any level of anything was going to kill Drake's popularity. Unless there's a full investigation into him, I don't think his career is going to end. I mean, this album, I'm pretty sure, just went number 1, which, I mean, good for them, I guess, but it's such a nothing album. It's just throwing out there. It's 20 songs of filler, and even on songs that I've heard people like CN Tower, it just blends too much of other songs that I can't really differentiate these ones. Spiderman Superman's another absolutely awful track on that album that is way too similar to CN Tower. Small Town Fame, despite being one of the album songs that stick out to me, it feels super unpolished, unfinished, very sped through. It feels like leftovers from some of the early Drake albums that you can just hear why they weren't put on the original album, but they decided to throw it on here to run the track time. And this album, I really just feel like it's supposed to just distract us from what's going on, because that's what Drake tried doing when he released I forget what the small EP he released a little bit after on the website, where he was trying to make a leak thing, oh wait, these are all my files thing, and there's no inappropriate thing on there. So that was really dumb. He's released a couple songs that have failed to really be popular, bring Drake back into any relevancy. And I feel like this album is just another thing, but it's an excuse just to release an album for OVO, another excuse just for Party Next Door that I feel like will just fizzle out again, like a lot of things from me. And because of that, I'm feeling a 3 on this album. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.